All right, today's O antiphon is my favorite, mainly because it has this phrase in it that I just love. It says, "You open and no man closes. You close and no man opens." And for me, I've just been clinging to that in my life lately. It's such a powerful statement of the sovereignty of God, and I need that kind of sovereignty. That's what I'm longing for, what I want to come into my life and permeate my day-to-day life. So, welcome to the next O antiphon. We're going to start out today in Down Dog. Again, if you want to warm up first with some sun salutations, that's a great idea. If you don't, that's fine too. Listen to your body, nothing should hurt. And follow that. If something starts to hurt, don't do that pose. Okay, so we're going to start in Down Dog. So really press into your mat with your hands and your feet, pushing your hands and feet away from each other. And then you're going to come into plank pose. Your wrists should be directly under your shoulders. Your body should make one straight line. And then we're going to lower down, slowly, keeping your elbows into your body, and then press up into upward facing dog. Only go as high here as is comfortable for you. Okay? Tuck your toes, and then come back again into Down Dog. And then I want you to drop your knees and come to Child's Pose. And then come to a tabletop position. So your knees are directly under your hips, your wrists are directly under your shoulders. And just look up and arch your back just a little bit. And then come back to a neutral spine. And I want you to stretch your right arm and your left leg out. And then bring them back in and stretch your left arm and your right leg out. And bring them back in. And then come to a kneeling pose with your hands open, wrists facing up, or palms facing up. And then come into Child's Pose once again. And that's the whole sequence. So now we'll do it a couple times with the prayer. So come into Downward Facing Dog. O Key of David. And then plank, scepter, lower down of the House of Israel. Press up into Upward Facing Dog. You open, tuck your toes and come into Down Dog again. And no man closes. Drop your knees and come to Child's Pose. You close. And no man opens. Come into tabletop. Come. Neutral spine. Stretch out your right arm and your left leg. And deliver. And then switch sides so you're stretching your left arm and your right leg. Him from the chains of prison. And then come back to a kneeling. Who sits in darkness. And come to Child's Pose and the shadow of death. And again, Down Dog, O Key of David. Plank, scepter, lower down of the House of Israel. Press up, you open. Tuck your toes and come into Down Dog, and no man closes. Drop your knees and come into Child's Pose. You close. And no man opens. Come to tabletop. Come. Stretch your arm out and your opposite leg and deliver. Switch sides. Him from the chains of prison. And come back to kneeling. Who sits in darkness. And child's pose. And the shadow of death. Again, down dog. O key of David. Plank, scepter, lower of the house of Israel. You open. Upward facing dog. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. And no man closes. Drop your knees and come into child's pose. You close. And no man opens. Come to tabletop. Come. Stretch your arm and your leg out and deliver. Switch sides. Him from the chains of prison. Kneeling. Who sits in darkness. Child's pose. And the shadow of death. O key of David, scepter of the house of Israel, you open and no man closes. You close and no man opens. Come and deliver. Him from the chains of prison, who sits in darkness and the shadow of death. If you want to do it a few more times, you can. When you're ready, come into Shavasana, corpse pose. And just lay there, rest your body, and allow your heart to continue with this prayer. Come, come, deliver, save.